My name is Jessica Gatewood, and I will be a senior at ISU in the upcoming fall. I would consider myself to be white. My family comes from European countries like Poland and Russia. We also come from countries like England and Scotland. I grew up and still do live in a middle class community that's predominantly white, but there are many others from other racial descents. I come from a family in which my mother is Jewish and my father is Christian, but growing up we had never really attended church or temple. The community which I live in is mostly Catholic or Christian with not as many Jewish people. I had always noticed and still do notice sometimes between the community that my grandpa lives in, who is from my mother's side, who is also Jewish, and the community that I live in. And I noticed that in my grandpa's community compared to mine, it is predominantly Jewish there. And I noticed that there are more temples there rather than churches. I would not really call myself religious at all, and going to church or temple was never really enforced growing up, but I have attended church and temple before and do believe in a God. Although I am white and have not really been discriminated against, I have noticed it a lot of racial discrimination within my community towards African Americans, Latinos, and Latinas, and those with Muslim backgrounds. I have also experienced religious discrimination. I have now learned that I am extremely proud of who I am, but growing up, especially in middle school, I would get lots of people that would make Jewish jokes about Hitler or Nazis or about the Holocaust. And I also, because I knew a lot of people knew that, I felt very uncomfortable when it came to talking about Jewish backgrounds and, like, specifically Hitler and the Holocaust. And although I knew that everybody was joking, um, all of my classmates, I would still feel very uncomfortable with these situations. I was born female and still do consider myself female, but I do fully support the LGBT community as I have many friends who are gay or bisexual. I don't feel uncomfortable with those who don't support the LGBT community, but I do get upset about this because I have seen a lot of discrimination towards those who are gay, bisexual, or transgender, especially a lot of my friends that I have. I am a cheerleader, so a lot of the boys, many people discriminate against them, either assuming that they are gay or bisexual, or if they know that they are. I do see a lot of discrimination with a lot of my friends that has to do with that, and I do get upset over that. I was born and raised in the Midwest in a suburb of Chicago, and I also do go to school, obviously, at Illinois State, which is also in the Midwest. I love where I live, but I have always had an interest in moving to the West Coast, like California or Arizona, or even south, like Florida. I actually have family that lives in California. I have family that lives in Georgia as well, including my dad who works there for a lot of the year, so sometimes it does feel like I live there. I have family in Florida as well who I go to visit every single winter, and I've always loved the state. I like the warm weather rather than the windy, chilly, cold Midwest that I normally live in for the majority of the year. Something that I wish I could get interested in, but never have taken interest in ever at all, really, is politics. There are a couple topics that recently I have taken interest in, including legalizing marijuana, because I do travel to states like California, and I was just in Nevada, where those states are legal. I find it interesting to read about how it's legal there and the laws concerning like legalized marijuana or prescription marijuana. Another topic that I have taken into interest are the recent abortion laws, and I do find this interesting because of how quickly things sometimes move compared to gun laws. And honestly, I really have only ever taken interest in those, so I really would not consider myself to be associated with any specific political party, and I would consider myself neutral. I do have my own views and opinions on some issues, but again, because I don't really follow politics, I cannot say that I associate myself with a specific party. I would consider myself learning disabled because I do have ADD, which is attention deficit disorder, and that makes me kind of go not be able to focus all the time and go off track. And that is why I had to make a few different voiceovers because I kept losing track. And that is a label that I would identify with, but I'm not embarrassed because of it or anything. Another fun cultural thing about me is that I have friends from all different cultures and backgrounds, but one of my best friends is actually Hispanic, and she has allowed me to come with her to family parties, and I get to experience the fiestas that they have. She has also taken me to Hispanic church, which was pretty cool because I don't really go to church to begin with, but I got to experience church in Spanish as well, and I get to experience new foods. Another one of my friends is very Polish. She comes from a Polish background. She was born in Poland, and I get to experience again eating some of her Polish foods and some of her traditions as well. Thank you so much for listening to me talk about me.